Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to decode an urban plan that is so ambitious, it's literally trying to reshape one of the world's biggest cities. And it's all laid out in a single, really powerful piece of regulation.
I mean, think about that question. It's a huge challenge, right? But for Mumbai, it's the day-to-day reality. The city is grappling with these immense informal settlements, and its answer is a blueprint, a very specific set of rules designed to transform these areas from the ground up.
Okay, so let's dive right into this. We're going to zero in on one key part of this massive document, Regulation 3310. This is the framework that basically governs all slum rehabilitation. It dictates how millions of lives and, the city's entire skyline are going to be reshaped.
First things first, when you're talking about a project on this scale, who actually gets a new home? You can imagine the rules have to be incredibly precise.
So, the whole thing starts with this critical definition, the protected occupier. Now, this isn't just a bunch of legal jargon, it's the line in the sand. To be eligible, your name and your home had to be on the city's official electoral rolls on or before January 1st, 2000. And that date was picked for a very specific reason, to recognize the people who've been established residents for a long time and to stop any last-minute rush of people trying to claim benefits.
And here's a really crucial point. The policy is laser-focused on the people actually living in these homes. The regulation makes it super clear. So let's say someone owns the structure but rents it out. Well, it's the tenant family, the ones actually living there, who gets the right to a new home, not the landlord. Okay, so once a family is officially eligible, what do they actually get? Let's take a look at the real, tangible benefits they receive.
This number right here, this is the big one. Every single eligible family gets a brand new home with a carpet area of 27.88 square meters. That's about 300 square feet. And get this, it's provided completely free of cost.
Now, they're very careful about defining carpet area. It means the actual usable floor space you can put a carpet on inside the apartment. So it doesn't count the thickness of the walls, but it does include the balcony. It's all about making sure there's absolutely no confusion about the living space families are getting.
And to make sure the new building stays in good shape for the long haul, the developer has to deposit 40,000 rupees for each and every new home. This goes into something called a corpus fund, which gets handed over to the new housing society to cover future maintenance and repairs. It's like a financial safety net, right from day one. Now, to prevent people from just flipping these properties and to make sure the program really helps the families it's meant for, there's a lock-in period. You can't sell or even rent out your new home for 10 years. The only way around it is if you're transferring it to a legal heir.
So, we see what the residents get, but who pays for all this? How do you make a project that gives away thousands of free homes actually work financially for a developer?
The whole system really hinges on this one concept, FSI, or floor space index. The easiest way to think about it is like a building allowance. It's a ratio that tells a developer exactly how much total floor area they're allowed to build on a piece of land. It's their construction budget, but measured in square meters.
Under Regulation 3310, the total FSI allowed for one of these slum redevelopment projects is a pretty generous 4.00. What that means is a developer can build a total floor area that is 4 times the size of the actual plot of land they're working on.
But, and this is important, you don't just get that massive FSI automatically. The rulebook connects it to smart urban planning. To unlock the full building potential, your project has to be on a bigger plot with a nice wide access road. This is to make sure that the new, much denser community doesn't just completely overwhelm local infrastructure like traffic.
And here's how that FSI is split to make the whole thing work. A chunk of it is for the rehab component, all the free homes for the residents. But the rest is the incentive BUA, or built-up area. This is the real key. It's the extra space that developer can use to build apartments to sell on the open market. The profit they make from those sales is what pays for the entire redevelopment. And in a city where land is so scarce, you have to use it efficiently, right? So the regulation also demands a minimum density. Projects have to be designed to fit at least 650 homes per hectare. This basically forces developers to build up, not out, and helps prevent urban sprawl. But look, a great neighborhood is way more than just a bunch of apartment buildings. And the regulation gets this. It actually builds social infrastructure right into the blueprint.
I mean, this just shows the bigger vision here. Developers aren't just putting up apartment blocks, they are required to build entire communities. This means they have to provide a whole set of amenities, things like preschools, welfare halls, health clinics, and even skill development centers right there in the project.
And the language in the rules is crystal clear. There shall be. It's not a suggestion, it's a command. The number of amenities you have to build is directly tied to the size of the community, making sure that the social infrastructure grows right alongside the housing.
So, when you put all of these pieces together, the rights for the residents, the incentives for the developers, and the needs of the community, what does the final picture really look like?
At the end of the day, it's this incredibly intricate bargain. Residents trade their current homes for a permanent, safe, and free apartment with a bunch of community facilities thrown in. And developers, they invest a huge amount of money, and in return, they get the right to build and sell apartments for a profit. This trade-off is basically the engine that's rebuilding Mumbai from the inside out.
So yeah, these regulations provide an amazingly detailed blueprint. But the big question, the one that always remains, is this. How do you translate all these rules, these numbers and clauses, into the real, living, breathing fabric of a city? That right there, that's both the challenge and the promise of Regulation 3310.